Yeehaw! Welcome to another episode of On Another Line Live. Appreciate you guys joining in this evening. We're going to be talking about my trip down to Dale Hollow this past weekend, and we're also going to be talking about some of my favorite spring baits to be throwing this time of year to catch more bass. Right after this short intro, we'll get into this episode of On Another Line Live. We'll see you in just a minute.
Gotta get your arms way up in a cast and set the hook on smallmouth bass, and then you'll understand. Gotta get your hands on a Shimano reel and a G-Loom is right. I bet you like what you feel. Step on the deck, give it a whirl. Hello and welcome to my world.
What's going on, everybody? Again, thanks for joining in this episode of On Another Line. We're going to be talking about my trip down to Dale Hollow this past weekend, what I found out about the place, and a few other things. We're going to be talking about a little bit about the Bassmaster Classic, a few things that I saw. I didn't get to watch it as much as I wanted to down in Tennessee where I was at. We didn't have very good service. But obviously, huge congratulations to Gustafson. He is a part of the Shimano and G-Loomis team from our friendly neighbors up north there in Canada land. So obviously that's a life-changing event there. What's up, Andrew Six? How you doing, buddy? But just a quick shout out to the people that have been following along on it wasn't really a live version of the trip down to Dale Hollow, but you guys were seeing it the day that it happened, which is something I've never done before. It took a little bit of time, a little bit of doing, and that was creating the videos when I was super tired in the evening and then releasing those things. But Dale Hollow was a learning experience for myself and JR. First off, obviously, I've never been there before, and breaking down a new lake is hard enough, especially when it's especially tough when you have that much water that you can actually cover. I think Aaron Webb posted on there that it can be overwhelming, and it is astronomically overwhelming when you think about how much water there is there between Cumberland and Dale Hollow, and how much sheer space that you can inhabit at one time. So it's a lot of times kind of crazy about that. It was again, I had a good time. Weather was crazy. That was one of the biggest things. Hey, Savannah. Yes, I am fishing. I'm probably going to go to my Lake X around the area here on Saturday, and then I'm fishing the Kentucky Bass Nation Team Tournament Trail at Yatesville this Sunday. Kyle and I will be joining that. What's up, Nate? How you doing, buddy? Man, thanks for joining in. I always appreciate your comments. Means a lot. So again, JR and I went down to Dale Hollow this past weekend. I took a day off work on Friday. We fished Friday, Saturday, part of the way through Sunday. And this comment right here nails it. Solidifies everything that I'm thinking in my head that I can't, put into words, is that I don't think that there's a bad stretch of bank of Dale Hollow. Everything, as fishermen or fisher persons, we can look at a lot of different things that we think we would have fish that are fishable, or things that should hold fish. Trees, stumps, rocks, steep banks this time of year, big flats, etc. Everything that I just mentioned is everywhere on Dale Hollow Lake. It was very overwhelming, to say the least. As I said, somebody commented, I think it was Aaron Webb that commented, that it can be overwhelming, and it was extremely. Oh, wow, here we go again with the yawn. But it was extremely overwhelming for me and JR as well. We get there on Friday, drive through the night, and we put in at Cove Creek. We had a VRBO there right at the end of Cove Creek, which again, I've said that in my second video, or the second video of the trip. There is a VRBO called Kylie's Cove. If it's just you and another person, or maybe a couple couples, it wouldn't be very good for like 5 or 6 buddies to go down there, because there's only 2 bedroom, 2 bath. But it's a really nice place, really close to Cove Creek boat ramp, which is a free boat ramp. It's literally at the end of the road that the house is on, and the boat ramp is super nice. Big parking lot, nice 1-lane boat ramp right next to Cove Creek. We fished in Cove Creek the very first morning for quite a while. I ended up catching a fish on a shad wrap. I've picked up some new Rapala shad wraps that I'm super pumped to throw. They just look so awesome. I'll see if I can find a picture of one. They're called glass shad wraps. And a lot of times people think about shad wraps as being like walleye baits, and that's not necessarily the truth. They're really good for bass this time of year, especially because they have a lot of really tight wobble compared to any other bait that I've ever seen. So if I share my screen here, let's see if I can. There we go. Make it full screen. So these are the shad wrap. I've been throwing the 5s, the GR5s, to 7 to 11 foot diving bait. There's a ton of cool collars. Let's see. The collar that I caught the fish on this past week was let's see. I believe it was the purple shad, and I have this glass shad a lot. I like it a lot. And again, so the difference is they make a 4, a 5, and a 7. So a 4 is going to be diving to 5 to 11 feet. And that's a huge depth gauge, or different depths there. 5 to 11 feet's a lot. Let's see what the 7's running. 7 to 15 feet, just a little bit bigger body, running the same depth basically as the 5. But this is a really good bait this time of year because, again, the the tighter wobble. I have this glass black one that I really like. This picture doesn't do it justice. It's more black than it is anything. I really like it. Really got a shad pattern to it. But I like these things because they do have a rattle to them, but they're not an obnoxious rattle. I've been throwing this thing quite a lot lately. Again, I like the bigger eyes. Has a really tight wobble to it. This time of year, I think that's very imperative to catching fish on a crankbait. And these shad wraps, this was the very first fish that I caught down there at Dale Hollow. Was about, I guess it was about a 13, 14 inch largemouth. And it looked, it was rough. It was, it had some wear and tear on it. It was blind in one eye. And I made the comment on the video, it was blind in one eye and couldn't see out of the other. That's how I caught it. But there was, it had some growth and stuff on it. It was really nasty looking fish, to be honest with you. But every other fish that we caught down there was super healthy. They were super nice looking fish. They fought really hard. The next fish that I caught on a glass shad wrap here was probably one of the biggest crappie I've ever caught in my life. It was an absolute slammer of a crappie. It made me want to put my rods down and start fishing for crappie because I caught it on a 5 shad wrap, and I don't know how big it was. It was a solid probably 2-pound crappie. It was a massive thing. I know there's a pile of them in there. We went down that bank a little bit and realized, JR caught one on a jerk bait, and that kind of got us in a weird pattern, to be honest with you, because I was throwing that crankbait, he was throwing the jerk bait, and you really don't know what to throw at that point, because again, 2 different styles of bait, both moving baits, which is good. I like catching stuff on moving baits, obviously. Larry Slack in the house. What's up, buddy? Thanks for joining. Brandon Buckner in the house. What's happening, man? Thanks for joining. We were fishing again. He caught the one on a jerk bait. We got in this weird pattern where we were we didn't know what to throw. We were throwing moving baits and it worked well. And then about an hour after that, we're fishing up Cove Creek. Thank God we were really close to the ramp because we had some battery issues. And the battery issues wasn't anything to the fault of, I don't know. So JR has some really cool features on his boat. He has a 19-foot Ranger aluminum boat, and it has two, I'm going to call them breakers, but they're just main switches basically in the bilge of his boat or in the bilge area that turns the power off to the trolling motor and also turns the power off to everything else, the graphs and everything. There are just two main breakers or switches there. And when we got there that morning, that I realized that one of them was actually, I think, still on. And I think that's why we had some battery issues, that we ran two 12s and a 9-inch Garmin from our house or his house in Ashland all the way down there, which is 4 hours. So we had these graphs on doing nothing for 4 hours, killed the battery. So that then brings up a very good point that I have now become a very big proponent of, and that is keeping jumper cables in my boat. But on top of that, I have actually started buying jump packs, and in place of the jumper cables. So I don't have both of them in a boat. I have a jump pack on my boat and or the cables. I would definitely have one if I were you. The issue is right now we are in a world of technology that, like, for example, my boat, I'm running two 15-inch Solix graphs right now on my boat, and those things are known to be power hungry units anyway. But a lot of times right now, people are running 2 or 3, 4 of those things and kind of using one 31 series battery to run those. And that's no different than JR's running. He has a 31 series battery running a 2 12-inch Garmin's and a 9-inch plus live scope. And it's taxing on a battery. So I've been keeping a battery pack or battery booster, if you will, battery starting pack in my boat. So I've been using a NOCO charger, and they have a ton of stuff. I didn't know what the best thing to go with was, so I'm looking at a lot of different brands and stuff. So I started getting into the NOCO, NOCO, and I'll show you my screen here what I carry. But I'm also going to talk to you guys a little bit about something that I've just recently found. So this is the one that I have. So I have one of these right now. I plan on getting one of these and putting it in every one of my vehicles, whether that be a boat, whether that be, I have a pleasure boat. I have my bass boat. I have a truck, 2 trucks. Misty has a car. These things are fairly expensive. This is a really big one. This is the biggest one that they offer. It will, again, will start a V8 diesel truck, anything like that. These things are really expensive. Again, they're $200. They make a lot cheaper ones than this, but I was looking the other day, and I don't know if you guys have one in your area or not, but if you do, Harbor Freight has one right now, and they don't have it in our area. If you're from my area, there's no sense of going out and looking for it, because I've already looked at both of the Harbor Freights in my area, and they are out of stock. See if I can find this one. It's made by Viking. It's a smaller version of it. Here it is. Viking 450 peak amp portable lithium ion jump starter and power pack. This literally looks similar as the NOCO one that I have. So it's 450 peak amp. The NOCO one that I have, the one that I have is 2000 amp, which is way bigger, but they make some that are smaller than that. They make a one that is 1,000 amp, which now that I'm looking at it, this may be the way to go also. So I have, this is the Harbor Freight version, $89. And the reason I'm telling you this about this is that I can't tell you if this is good quality or not. Again, if you're going to be making a living from anything from Harbor Freight, I would definitely buy better quality stuff. But I feel like if you're only going to be using it a couple times or keeping something like this in your boat, it's worth it. Again, $89, but right now there's a coupon out there that will take $20 off of this, so it's $69. So having this thing in your boat is going to be a game changer and could cause you the ability to get back to the ramp. And again, you can, if you have jumper cables, you could obviously go in and run a jumper cable from your trolling motor battery to your starting battery, your cranking battery, and get your boat cranked up and go down the water. And that's a great deal. So again, I did have jumper cables on my boat for a while, and then I'd switch to one of those things. But I was just looking here. Maybe this, I would definitely trust a name brand like NOCO more than I would something from Harbor Freight. But this one right here is 1,000 amp, and the other one was only 450 amp. And this one right here is literally the same price, practically $10 more. You're getting more amperage, and it's a known name brand. So, obviously go with what you want. But I promise you I'll have one of these in every vehicle that I own, because it's worth the money in the long run to not have to worry about getting back to the ramp. That's one of the biggest fears of mine. And it's not that it's a big fear, but it's always in the back of my head. Are my batteries good and charged? Are they what they should be? Which brings me to another point. We're actually going to talk about batteries very soon. I've reached out to Ionic Lithium batteries today, waiting on an email back from them. I'm trying to get a representative from their company on the show here in a week or so to try to talk to them about lithium batteries. Because right now I am at a situation where my Odyssey batteries are really, they've been 100% amazing, guys. I cannot say enough about Odyssey batteries. They have done me right. They've been awesome batteries. The tournament this weekend that I'm fishing is the Kentucky Bass Nation team tournament or team series that is on Yatesville on Sunday. I'm not sure what time. I think it's what time it starts. You can get on Kentucky Bass Nation on Facebook and see the actual times and the schedule. The team series is actually in this area, which is really pretty cool. They're fishing Yatesville. The next one's on Cumberland, which, by the way, quick word of advice here. Those of you guys that are Shimano fans like I am, if you want to fish a free tournament, well, kind of free, the Shimano Owners Tournament is coming up here very soon. I'll see if I can't share a let's see here if I can. So here is the Shimano Owners Tournament. Free team tournament trail, or not a trail, free team tournament on Lake Cumberland, April 22nd. The deal is to get into this tournament, you have to buy a rod or reel of $99 or more value from a participating dealer. So the dealers in our area that are participating, I could tell you for sure, is going to be the Tackle Box in South Point, Ohio, and Borders over in Ashley, Kentucky. There's probably more. I don't know if Bypass and all those people are a part of it. I would imagine any dealer that sells Shimano in our area can probably get you hooked up with this. Only thing you need is a receipt showing that what you bought and when you paid for it and stuff. Again, has to be each team member has to buy something $99 or more. There are some bonus money if you have So the highest finishing team that has 2 Shimano lures tied on, you can there's some extra stuff there. But if you see here, they pay back all the way through the 25th place. So first place is $1,000, second place is $750, all the way down to 6th to 10th place. You're going to get 2 Corrado rods, a Corrado rod each. 11th to 20th place is going to be 2 SLX rods. 21st to 25th place, 2 Celis rods. So again, that is April 23rd. And the reason I brought that up is because if you're fishing the Kentucky team or the team trail, that is going to be the Kentucky Bass Nation, again, which is Sunday at Yatesville. There is the next one is the one at Cumberland, and it's the 23rd. So if you're a Shimano fan and have bought something that's $99 or more from a participating dealer, you can make that a whole weekend deal. You can go down there and fish the Saturday Shimano Owners Tournament, which is a great deal. Don't get me wrong, that tournament is full of a bunch of hammers. And it's usually like 100+ boat field. So it's a good time. But the next day is the KBN Team Trail at Lake Cumberland. And then the next 2 are the Ohio River, Maysville, and then the last one is Ohio River, Little Sandy. So it's actually a pretty cool deal, pretty cool close team series. It's not a huge entry fee. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, but that's what we're fishing on Sunday. Yeah, Fred, I'm with you, man. I think they're a lifesaver. I believe that they, as you said, are well worth the money. They are, I mean, to be able to press a button, hook up the batteries, press a button and start it. And guys, I'm talking about a big diesel engine for some of those things, but you can get one of the smaller ones and definitely start your outboard motor. Yeah, I'm with you. So, man, I've been commenting back and forth about these hats. I know you've been wanting one of these hats, and I have 2 of them. I have this nasty gray one that's been worn forever, and I have the blue one. I wish they made these things some more. They don't make them anymore. I wish they did. They're one of my favorite hats, but I asked my rep the other day if I could order some more, and he did not. He said I couldn't because they didn't have any more. Or they weren't making them anymore. So I went to the tackle box and bought the blue one. That's what I did. So I actually bought that to wear on stage when I opened up for Clay Walker a couple months ago. And that's where that one's at. But I wish I could get some more of them. Just can't. Awesome, man. So I've got the blue one. So let's see if we can find that one. Like I said, if you're in my area, I wanted to go buy one, but now that I'm looking at it, also, I guess that's probably this one right here. Luke, you can let me know if that's true or not. Let's see here. This looks like 750 peak amps, a little bit bigger profile, $64. $49 if you're a Harbor Freight member. But the thing that you have there is, again, I can't say this any better. It's cheap insurance, guys. Now, some of you guys may not fish as many tournaments as I do, or maybe a lot of you guys, like Luke and a few of you guys, are probably fishing way bigger tournaments than I am. But as a boater, if I am running live wells all day and I have both my graphs going and all this stuff going on, it's very taxing on my cranking battery. And what happens is, like, you never think about it. You never think anything about it until it's time to go back to the ramp, usually weigh-in time. You're usually scrambling, and you go to crank the motor and you get the old we've all been there, and it doesn't turn over. There's not enough power in the battery to turn it over. It is the absolute ability for you to get back, having that little jump pack in there. They don't weigh much. They don't take up much space. Way less space than jumper cables. And if you have jumper cables in your boat, one of the things that you're looking at is that you have to think about your trolling motor is actually having charge too. And that's just it may or may not happen that way. One thing that I will tell you about batteries, guys, again, I've said this a bunch of times. Obviously, you guys know that I'm affiliated with Odyssey Batteries, so this is not in any way biased by the fact that I am using Odyssey. But I have had a lot of terrible luck with interstate batteries. And I am not knocking interstate batteries by any means. If you guys run them and love them, that's totally fine. Again, I'm not here to cause a bunch of bias or a bunch of uproar, but I will tell you that I've had two different scenarios or three times now that an interstate battery has let me down on the water. And thankfully, they've not been in any of my boats. Kyle's had two. He had a brand new 2015 Z21, and he's got a 2021 Z21 now. And they both had interstate batteries from the factory. Or maybe not from the factory. Maybe they were rigged that way from where he bought it. I'm not sure how that works. I've never bought a new battery or a new boat. So wherever the batteries were installed, whether that be at the factory or at the dealer, interstate batteries have just not been a thing for us. It cost us about $300 last year. We joined a tournament, big giant tournament, went to try to fish, put the trolling motor down and didn't have any trolling motor power. And two of the three trolling motor batteries that it had that were all interstate were bad, and they were only a year and a half old. But having that jump pack in the boat, again, I'm keep going back and harping on that. It's definitely cheap insurance, as somebody said a second ago. Go buy yourself one if you can afford it, but definitely keep some jumper cables in there because it, again, as I said before, it's cheap insurance to get yourself back to the ramp. Whether you're fishing or not, fishing a tournament or not, getting back to the ramp is like priority number one. Shimano MGL. Which or Corrado MGL or the Chronarch? Which MGL do you have? Yep, definitely lesson learned, man. Definitely is. Yep. So Luke says that's it. And it looks like it's about the same price. So I wonder what the difference is. I guess maybe this one's just bigger. I know you guys can't see it on my screen right now, but so that's weird. Like this bigger one is. So the one thing that I looked at, another with these jump packs, guys, is that they have to be charged. Obviously, charge them up, put them in your truck. But the NOCO one says that it will stay up to 70% charged for 7 years, which is crazy. So what I'm saying is this: charge this thing up, put it in your vehicle, put it in your boat, put it in your Harley, what have you. Harley would be a little bit more hard to do because you got to end up taking the seat and things off. So you're going to have some tools anyway. But the jump pack there again, if it's peace of mind for me to have it. Again, I only have one right now. I have one in my old square body. I have an 85 square body truck. I call it the beater with the heater. And it, sometimes it starts, sometimes it doesn't. That's what you get into. But actually, it was funny. JR and I were down there around the Dale Hollow Lake this weekend. And, dude, there are so many square bodies down there that are still on the road and people are using from farm trucks. It was like amazing to see. But I have that in my square body just for peace of mind. But having that now, it has really saved my rear end of having it, especially in that square body, because I've used it 3 or 4 times already. And it's already paid for itself 4 times, 5 times over. So I may not buy that $200 one to have in my car all the time, but I will have something that I can guarantee that I'm going to get jump started, because we've all been to a point where we've had dead batteries in a boat, in a motorcycle, in a car somewhere. You know what I'm talking about. It's not a fun experience. Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy? I was down at the river the other day. I was thinking about you. I don't think you were working. I hope you do get a double digit. Gunnersville, well, I mean, it's springtime at Gunnersville. It's going to be hammered. There's going to be a lot of tournament stuff going on there. They just fished a BFL last weekend there. My buddy said they were catching them throwing a trap in grass. So maybe that'll help you out. Yeah, man. So that's the deal. So my birthday was a couple weeks ago. Misty hooked me up with a new NRX Plus for my birthday. I right now have four casting, four spinning rod NRX Pluses. So to say that I like them is an understatement. I really love the rods for sure. Jeff, so I would recommend the triple threat jig to anybody. Again, that comes from Blue Rock Tackle at bluerockcustomtackle.com. I believe you can search it on Google. Jesse was on the show probably 2 months ago now, probably longer than that actually, and we were talking about his jigs and stuff. And since then, matter of fact, so I'm gonna tell on myself here. I'd never used his products until after that show. Again, my buddy Brandon Klein is affiliated with him and his products, and he kept telling me about this 1099 jig and how I had to check it out. So I bought a bunch of baits off of Jesse that night, and got them shipped to my house, and everything was good. And I started using them, and then I started throwing the 1099, and I like it all right. It's a great jig. But then I started using that triple threat, what I call a micro jig or finesse jig. It's kind of like a jig. It's kind of like a Ned rig with a bait keeper and a skirt. It is weedless. It does have a wire weed guard on it, which is really pretty cool. But I've been throwing this thing every time I'm out, and it has produced fish after fish after fish for me. And it's produced some keeper fish in tournaments that I don't think I would have caught on anything else. I caught a keeper on it, about a 3 pounder at Grayson, the very first day of this year. So January 1st, I caught one on it. I have caught two keepers on it this past weekend or 2 weekends ago, with Lewis County Lunkers. I fished at Yatesville, caught two keepers on it in the Ozark crawl. But it's funny that you mentioned this because I just now ordered $75 worth of them, of the triple threat jigs. So I got a bunch of them coming. Blackout, let's see, I have Blackout, which is all black. I have Perfect Crawl. I have Midwest Crawl, and I have the Ozark Crawl. So I got a lot of crawls and a Blackout, which is a black one. I've been catching fish on the Ozark Crawl, which is black and chartreuse. Really cool color. And again, guys, I've been talking about having that thing tipped with, or rigged with a net bait Pocket Slim 3.5-inch black and blue. Cut that thing about halfway off, cast it out, jig it like you normally would a finesse jig. You're going to catch some fish. What's up, Nate? How you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining in. So, all right. So that blue one's a little larger, I guess. So helmet is fairly large, but space is space. But trust me, if it's a, it's a lifesaver for sure. You know that. If I can get about 3 years out of 27 size deep cycle lead acid batteries on 112 Fortrex, $360 for all three batteries, what is the best price I can get? Three lithiums, one for how many years could I honestly expect? That is an excellent question, Adam. So I'm just now digging into the situation about how many years can you expect a battery to last. So I am a nowhere an expert, but I will tell you that I've got four Odyssey batteries. I got four PCM 2150s, so I've had a lot of people ask me what makes Odyssey batteries different than most lead acid batteries. So there's three different types of batteries, in my opinion, from what the research I've been doing. One of them is a strict lead acid battery. That's the kind that you can pop the top off from and put like distilled water in should it go low and stuff. And then there's AGM, which is absorbed glass matte. So basically, it's still a lead acid battery. It's really not acid. It's kind of like an electrolyte that's in there. But instead of having this liquid acid flowing in between the plates, there is this almost like a fiberglass matte material that's in between the different plates of the lead that gives you the charge. One of the things that I do know that Odyssey batteries do is they use 100% virgin lead for their batteries, which means it's more pure, doesn't have a lot of impurities in there. So they can make those lead plates a lot thinner, so they can stack a lot more of those plates in the same footprint as you would a normal battery. For example, a 31 series Odyssey has way more plates than a 31 series Optima, etc. I could tell you that my batteries, my AGM Odysseys right now are 5 years old, and I think they are now probably at the last year that I'll use them because they are still charging, but they don't hold as much charge as they used to. I used to get about 13.2 volts when I very first started fishing on my graphs of the reading. Right now, I can only get about 12.2, 12.3, and that's when I start. And that's not the greatest in the world because, again, I'm running two 15-inch graphs throughout the day. So I am kind of playing with fire there. So what I did was, to negate having to buy new batteries this year, is I took my fourth Odyssey battery, which, by the way, I have a 24-volt trolling motor. I just put the 220. I have two Odyssey 25 or the 31 series for my trolling motor batteries, and then I have two 31 series that are in parallel. So obviously, series is what you're going to have for your trolling motor, and that's like positive, negative, negative, positive, and then you're running from negative your trolling motor to one negative, and then you're going to go positive to negative on one battery, and then the positive of the other battery is going to go to your trolling motor, which is going to boost that to 24 volts. If you had three batteries done that way in series, again, would be 36 volt. Whereas I am running in parallel for my graphs and my starting, which is positive to positive, negative to negative, and then running the positive and negative from one battery to my graphs and things. So that gives me 12 volts still, but it gives me double the power, the double of the reserve power there. So the problem with Odysseys right now is that they are in a price point that puts them out of reach for somebody wanting just a typical battery like you're talking about, that $360 for all three batteries, because one Odyssey battery is more expensive than that. One Odyssey 31 series PCM 2150 like I'm running right now is over $600 a piece. So what can you expect from that? Well, you're going to get at least 5 years out of it. The 2150 stands for the cold cranking amps that you can have. So again, with that virgin lead and that more of those lead plates inside that battery in the same footprint of a 31 series battery, they can have an astronomically high cold cranking amps. Again, this thing has like 1150. I'm lying to you. I think it's way more than that. So let's see here. Yeah, so the pulse hot cranking amps, this is PHCA, 2150 amps of hot cranking power. So if the battery's hot or the motor's hot and you crank it, you're going to get 2150 amps. That is astronomically high. Cold cranking amps is 1150. That is really, really high as well. But again, they're $600 a piece. So I'm looking right now on their website right now on straight from Odyssey battery. The batteries that I'm running are $528.99 plus shipping. So you're going to be looking at over $600 a battery probably in that case. So at that point, this is where the idea of lithiums come into play. Again, there's a lot of stuff you got to take into consideration when it comes to lithium batteries compared to AGMs or lead acid batteries. Lead acid batteries are going to be the cheapest. AGMs are going to be definitely a step up from that, and then higher than that in price points are going to be lithiums. Well, what do you get for jumping in the price point? So that's why I wanted to reach out to Ionic Brands, because there's a few people that I know that run them. There's like Eric Moore, and obviously he is affiliated with him. He's got his boat wrapped in Ionic. But I sent him a message yesterday. I said, Eric, I want to know your no BS review of Ionic brands, because JR and I have been looking at them, because the Ionic brand right now, you can buy a 125 amp hour 31 series, I believe it is. I don't know. I don't think they go by series like that anymore. But it's a 12 volt, 125 amp hour lithium battery for 700, and I think everything was good, like $749, right? So that's $150 more than the Odyssey battery. Well, $150 is a lot, right? So what are you getting for that $150? Well, first off, you're getting a lot less weight, and that could be good and that could be bad, and I'll explain what I'm talking about there in just a second. But the good side of it is that Ionic has a lot of cool things going on with it. And I'm not huge on saying that Ionic is the best brand out there, because I haven't done my research, but I do know that I've looked at them more than I have any other brand in the last couple of days, because a couple of things that I've noticed with Ionic brands is like Ionic has an 11-year warranty on a battery. So $750. So if you had 3 batteries, you're going to be looking at, you're looking at $2,100. Which is a lot of money. It's a ton of cash, right, to come out of pocket for some batteries. One, you're going to get some weight reduction. If you're running 3 AGM 2150 Odyssey batteries, they are, according to their website right now, are almost 78 pounds a piece. So, that's 200 plus pounds that you're losing. You're going to be losing well over 100 pounds of that. Ionic has a really cool feature. Again, an 11-year warranty is a big selling point for me. So if I go out, let's just say that I replace just my cranking battery to lithium, right? So I want that to last the longest, because I want to make sure that I'm going to get back to the ramp. Well, that lithium battery is $750. It's $150 more than an Odyssey battery. Well, you're getting double the life. So if I have to pay $600 for an Odyssey battery, I'm inherently going to have to replace that battery again in those 10, 11 years that you get with that warranty of that Ionic. And I am going to have $1,200 in 2 batteries, and I'm going to have to replace them. Whereas I'm going to have $750 in 1 battery and have an 11-year warranty on the Ionic. And another cool thing that I thought was really cool about it is they have a Bluetooth technology in every battery that you can pull up your phone. There's an app, and it will show you exactly how much power is in every one of your batteries via that lithium app through Ionic, which I thought was really cool. So there's no guesswork. You pull up the app. Okay, yeah, it's this is whatever. The only downfall that I've seen is that lithium batteries don't work so hot if it's really cold. But in our case, let's face it, we're not fishing that cold. I think the cold weather extremes is like 24 degrees Fahrenheit. There's very few times where I'm fishing that cold of weather. Matter of fact, I don't think there ever is a time that I'm fishing that cold of weather. But if you do fish that cold of weather, they do have a battery that has an internal heater that will heat itself up. And again, take this for what it's worth. I'm hoping to have somebody from their company on the show here soon to talk to you more about it. Obviously, an expert opinion. I'm just giving you my non-biased opinion here, for the fact that I have $600 batteries in my boat. If I'm going to replace them, I probably will buy lithiums going forward, and it probably would be Ionic. Now, let's talk about weight reduction and why that's good and why that's bad. Weight reduction is great because you're going to be picking up speed. The bad side of that, in my opinion, and I don't know how this is going to affect most boats, is like my boat in 2006. I have a 2006 Stratus Pro or 201 Pro XL. It was designed and engineered for lead acid batteries, because practically that was all available back then. They were super heavy, and they were designed to have some weight in the rear end of them. So when it comes to speed, and I know speed is not everything in a bass boat, but my boat right now, with a fully, rigged boat with tournaments, 100% fuel. I have like 30 rods on my boat, ton of gear. I have a ton of crap in there. My boat is a 71, 72 mile an hour boat with just me in it. And if I change props and I have about a half tank of fuel, I can get 75 mile an hour out of my boat. Do I like going that fast? No. Is there very rarely that I go that fast? Sure. But the problem with lithium in my boat that I see is that right now I'm running, again, 3 Odyssey batteries. I will have 4. They're 210 pounds. Lithium batteries are very light, which is the selling point of them. You're going to be losing bow lift on your boat should you have what I have, and that is a big trolling motor and a big graph on the front of your boat, or multiple graphs up there. You're going to be having a loss of bow lift, which is going to cause you to lose power and lose speed, or potentially could cause your boat to become unstable at high speeds, which is no bueno. That's not good. So I've heard of people putting lithiums in their boat and have to run water ballast in their boat to make their boat even out and run like it should. And that just blows my mind. So I don't know that it's going to be lithiums for me. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I'm going to try to get this year out of my Odysseys because they've been great batteries, guys. I've got 5 years out of them, but having an 11-year warranty on a battery is a good thing. Now, the other downfall of lithiums is that not all battery chargers will charge lithium. Ionic has a list of things on their boat or on their website that will show you which battery chargers they're compatible with. For example, mine right now, I have a Pro Mariner in my boat. It is not compatible with lithiums. It will charge AGMs and lead acid batteries, but not lithium. So that's another expense I'll have to have going in. Maybe get a NOCO Genius charger or something like that. But I'm looking, if I replace all my batteries, I'm looking at, probably close to $2,500 when it comes to having lithiums and a new charger. So you have to take that in consideration. Let's see here. No, Dan, I wasn't there this year. Went to Del Hollow, caught some fish. I didn't really regret not going to the Classic. I always have fun. Like, if you've never been to a Classic, you should definitely go. Take your family. It is an amazing experience. The last day, again, of the weigh-in, the Super 6, and how they traipse everybody around, like, it makes the hair stand up on my back of my neck. Everybody wants to be there. Like, we all want to be there. It's an amazing time. I loved it. I just, we were all planning on going. Myself, Misty, my buddy Dusty, and Kyle, Terry Lee. There's a few of us going, and we just all. Dusty had a tournament last weekend in Gunnersville. I was fishing. Like, we just all decided we couldn't go because Kyle and I were going to go anyway. But we were looking at Airbnbs and looking at hotels and stuff, and it was uber expensive for 2 of us to go. So we just decided not to go. Nice, man. You'll love that jig. Yeah, Luke. Again, 11-year warranty on Odysseys is big. Are you talking about the 1099 or the triple threat? If you have the triple threat, then no. Leave the weed guard. I don't cut the weed guard down on either one of those. Tennessee Bassmaster in the house. So they are getting rid of. I don't think the skeleton fish is still going to be a part of the Loomis logo. I think what happened is, and I could be mistaken on this, so don't take this to the bank, but there used to be a script Loomis like this one right here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Potentially. If I can find the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for here. There we go. So this logo right here, where it looks like it's like written in here, this is going away, and they're going just to this block style G Loomis. That is 100% true. I don't think that the skeleton fish is going away. I could be wrong, but that little thing that I was showing you there, where like that scripted logo, is definitely gone. They're not using that anymore for sure. It's the block G Loomis, like this right here, same logo. Hey man, what's up? No, I have not. Cigar makes great line. I've never tried it. I am a huge fan right now of Sunline. Not sponsored, not affiliated with them in any way, but I'm going to tell you, it is the most crazy line I've ever fished. It is expensive, but I like it. Cigar Smackdown. I heard a lot of good stuff about it. I do know that Shimano just released their version of the fluorocarbon line, which was supposed to be released at ICAST. I've heard word of it for the past couple months. I've talked about it. I've looked at it. It's been in the Japanese market for quite a while, and there is a lot of hype about it. Matter of fact, Gussie was using it the other day when he won the Bassmaster Classic, which is pretty cool. But it's called Shimano Mastiff, and it is a fluorocarbon line just like that. So I'm interested in getting my hands on that, and I'm going to do like a side-by-side comparison between Sunline and the Mastiff to see which one I like better. Because right now it's going to be tough to turn my head away from Sunline. I like it that much. It's just super, super strong. Okay. So there we go. Getting a little bit more information there. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. At 32 degrees or colder, they won't charge. They shut down. And now that, like I said, I don't fish that cold. Some of you guys do. Like I've been out on the water when it's cold, that cold, but I've never tried to charge them at 32 degrees. It would be 32 degrees in my garage, I guess. It's not heated in there, so maybe that's an issue. 6 years, no questions asked, and 5 years is prorated. So that brings in something too. So that would be something I would like to find out with Ionic too. If I have somebody in there, from their company on here, we'll be able to ask them. Yeah, so that's another thing. That's a deal. I've never fished in colder weather than 32 degrees, guys. Let's face it, if it was colder than 32 degrees for a long period of time, the water would be ice and you wouldn't be fishing anyway. So I really don't think that's a bad deal. I don't think that's a deal breaker for me. The only problem I could see would be in the cold winter months when it's in my garage and not charging. So if that's something that could be negated, I guess I could bring it in my garage down here and make sure I charge them up and leave them on something here would probably be better, because my garage down here in my house is not heated, but it is insulated. My other one is not. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. The final part of the Bassmaster Classic weigh-in is something that you have to experience one time in your life. If you're a bass fisherman, you're going to enjoy it. So that's the deal, man. Like I said, this is a non-biased, I'm not promoting Sunline because I'm affiliated with them with the channel. I'm affiliated with no line manufacturer other than the braid that I use, which is Power Pro, and I think that there's no better braiding line out there than that Power Pro. But Sunline again is my favorite because I've just had such good luck with it. It lasts forever. I've had the same. I've tested this out just to see how long I can get with a spool of line. I have one reel that I refuse to change the line on, and I know you guys have all been there. You've left your rods in your rod locker all winter. Should you be at a place like me that you can't fish all winter, and you get them out and you make that first cast of the springtime, and that thing looks like a slinky going out through there. And that comes from, one, not taking care of the line, and two, keeping it wrapped up really tight in your rod locker when it's getting hot and cold and super cold and stuff, and it gets line memory in there. So far with Sunline, I've never had that problem. I have a spool of 12-pound Sunline FC Sniper that's on a crankbait rod of mine that I use every time I'm out, and it is 3 years old, and I never changed it. And I cast it. Doesn't have any line memory to it. I've never had a fish break off from it. Knock on wood, or I'll probably lose every fish that I ever have on it this weekend. But it's just great line, guys. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the commercial that has Takahiro Mori on there, and a bunch of people like Brent Ayler, and they're all talking about like these country slangs. Like I think G-Man says it's tougher than woodpecker lips, and then somebody else says fishing anything else like putting gas in a wrecked car, and then one of them says it's tougher than concrete biscuits. There's just like a bunch of them that they're going on about it, and then all at the end of it, they got Takahiro Mori saying like what they're trying to say is Sunline is very good line. That is the most iconic commercial ever. Go out and watch it. It is classic, man. It is like one of my favorite commercials ever. Pretty good stuff. But anyway, back to our quick trip down to Del Hall. It was a really good time. I appreciate you guys commenting where to fish. We ended up fishing Horse Creek one day. Really cool place. We ended up putting in at Horse Creek Marina. And one thing that I will tell you, the people down in that area are absolutely super friendly and super nice. You know as well as I do, you can go to some places in the country that are big fishing towns like that, and they don't care if it snows oats. They're not going to be friendly to you. They could care less about you being in their town. And I did not get that one time we were down there in Del Hollow. Everybody we talked to was super friendly. They, seemed like everybody enjoyed life down there. It was a good time. Pulled into Horse Creek Marina. Never been there before. And there was a guy out there painting some beams and stuff. And he was the only guy I could find. And I couldn't see anything about a public ramp or how much it costs. So I asked the guy, I was like, hey, man, I was like, do you know if there's a public ramp anywhere in the area? I'm not from the area. We're just looking for a place to put in. And he's like, no, I don't know if there's any around here or not. And I was like, oh, crap. We just drove 30 minutes to get there, halfway around the lake. And I was like, well, we're just looking for a place to put in. He's like, oh, well, you can put it in here, man. It's just $5. I was like, oh, cool. Can I pay you? He's like, no. He said, but the place is closed right now. She got to go into town. He said, just put your boat in and you can pay when you come back. So we did. And I was walking out and she had actually got there when we were putting the boat in. So I paid her the $5 and everything was good. The lady was friendly. The people on the water were friendly. I just had a really good time. The biggest fish that we caught all weekend came on two smallmouth were the biggest bass of the week or the weekend. I caught a 4-pound smallmouth on a deep diving Rapala Shadow Rap 11, and we caught it on a pea gravel bank. Again, you have to watch the video. It absolutely crushed this jerk bait, like about ripped the rod out of my hands. That's how hard it hit it. And then I caught the other big smallmouth on a tackle box spinnerbait, 3/8 ounce with willow leaf blades, white and chartreuse. JR caught some fish on a chatterbait, throwing a jackhammer, and he was also throwing a slobber knocker. Caught a couple fish on that. I caught a couple fish on a crankbait. I don't know that I caught a couple fish on a that triple threat jig. There's a lot of fish that were caught. Saturday was crazy, 50 plus mile an hour wind gusts. We were fishing pockets. We found some areas that had a lot of mud runoff into these pockets with the wind pushing back in there. I assume the wind was pushing the bait fish, which was then pushing the fish back into the back of these coves, and they were in the mud, man. If you could find muddy water, you could catch fish. And we ended up setting on the edge of these pockets and spot locking and then fishing the back of these pockets for 25 30 minutes a pocket, and we were catching fish after fish after fish. And one of the things that I noticed watching the video footage back and editing it, one of the fish that I caught, the smallmouth, must have been way deeper than the fish that I had been initially catching. And here's what I mean by that. So JR, we're fishing this back of this cove, and JR makes a cast back in there, and he hooks a fish, and I net it for him. And then my bait, by the way, is a spinnerbait, and it's in the water, so it goes to the bottom, right? It just sits there, obviously, because it's a lead weight. It's going to go down there and sit there. So I reel my line back up, step on the back of the boat, and I make about 3 cranks, which means that spinnerbait would have come up off the bottom and just been probably maybe a foot off the bottom, and it gets absolutely smoked by a 3.5-pound smallmouth. And I didn't put that together until after I was watching the video footage. And I was thinking, man, that smallmouth must have been super deep. And then I started thinking about that smallmouth that I caught on that shadow wrap it was an 11, but it was a shadow wrap deep. It was a 11 to 15 foot diving crank or a jerk bait that is slow sinking. So that smallmouth that I caught on that Pea Gravel Point was also deep. Stuff like that I wish I would put together while I'm fishing, but I see that after the fact. I could have maybe went and found those different places, fish deeper, fish slower, and could have caught some of those big smallmouth that live in Dale Hollow. That's a true story. We've all been there too. Yeah, Jeff, I agree with you. Yeah, man, I forgot all about this. So we're fishing the day that the batteries died. The bat died and the batteries died the same day. See what I did there? It was the weirdest thing, man. It was like noon on Friday, maybe 11:30, and there was a bat flying around. Broad daylight. No clue what this thing was doing out there. I think it was probably half diseased, or we're like to think that it had rabies or whatever. It's like dive bombing us, and we're like, feel like Sugar Ray Leonard over there. We're like, trying not to get knocked out by this bat. And then JR just like it comes swooping down, and JR's throwing a 6 cents 2.5, and he just like swipes at it with that bait and hits the freaking bat out of the air and knocks it out. I think he killed it. If it didn't kill it, he probably drowned because it went straight in the water. But it was the craziest interaction I've ever seen. First off, a bat being out at noon on a very bright sunny day, and then hitting a bat with a 2.5 crankbait. And what was so even more impressive than that is that he didn't hook the bat with the crankbait. He just smacked it out of air, which is crazy. It was a good time. But again, I think we caught a dozen or more fish in the 2 days we were there. Sunday, however, we'll end the show with this. Absolutely sucked for us. We fished from 6:30 in the morning until about 12:30 in the afternoon and never caught a single fish. Not one dink, not one junk fish, not a crappie, not a blood-sucking bat, whatever. We just couldn't get them to bite. We could see them on live scope, couldn't get them to bite. Probably because the uber amount of wind that was there. We had a big lightning storm the night before. We just couldn't find them. Somebody caught them, I'm sure, but we just couldn't. West Virginia Ninja. Don't be Judy chopping, don't be kung fu kicking and Judy chopping at the same time. There goes your leg. There's not much use for a one-legged ninja out there. That may be it, Jeff. It lightning and thundered really hard on Saturday night, and the wind was blowing super hard, tornado style winds, 50 plus mile an hour. That whole day before, and then Sunday, uber nice, bluebird skies, high pressure, which is never fun to fish in. But we just couldn't catch them. I don't know what was up. So anyway, guys, we're at that 1 hour mark. Appreciate you guys joining in for this episode. I am going to have a video coming out soon about batteries and what you should see. We're going to replace JR's battery with some kind of battery. It may be an Ionic battery. But I am reaching out to the company of Ionic to try to get them to come on the show and just talk batteries with us and give us some ideas what's happening there. So maybe I can make that happen. I do have a tournament this weekend. I'm planning on going to Lake X on Saturday, and then I have a tournament on Sunday. So I will be having some videos coming out very soon. I have 2 videos coming out of Yatesville Monday and Wednesday of next week. So you guys will be seeing those. Those are weeks old because I don't want to let the cat out of the bag of what I was catching them on. That way, I do have that big tournament coming up on Sunday. I'd like to finish as high as I can. They may not still be eating what I was throwing, but I'd like to have that in my, as an ace in the hole, just to make sure that they, if they are, I'm the only guy who knows about it. I probably am not the only guy who knows about it, but I don't want to give let the cat out of the bag too early. But I'll have 2 Yatesville videos coming up next week that you guys will see. Live videos, obviously, every Tuesday. Hopefully, I have somebody from Ionic. Also going to have a lot of people on. I got some things in the works. I got some people on the line, so we will see if we can actually get some people on another line, if you know what I meant. Caught a bobber with a bluegill on it. That's something to be proud of. That's pretty cool. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys joining in for this episode of On Another Line. Got a lot of content coming your guys' way. I did have a lot of, let me check my analytics here on the old YouTube Studio app. Gained 2 more subscribers today, so thank you guys very much. 56 subscribers this month for the last 28 days, so that's not bad. It's not great, but I'll take it. Had like 25 in the last week, which is my kind of progress, guys. So we're gonna be coming up. We'll tell you, I used the old JB's fish sauce pinch of garlic this weekend, as you already know. It's really good stuff. Got some new fresh stuff out there again. If you guys are interested in getting your hands on some JB's fish sauce, you can use OALL20 on Another Line Live, OALL on Another Line Live 20 for 20% off your order at jbsfishsauce.com. That pinch of garlic's got my logo on it for a reason. I do believe in it. Pretty good stuff. Anyway, it's all good. Had fun at Del Hollow. It was a pretty good time. I'll definitely go back. Going to be trying to get out there and swing on them with some sticks this weekend. The Kentucky Bass Nation, they're no jokes. They have a lot of good fishermen in there. So I'm going to go out and put my and Kyle's skills and knowledge to the test against those guys and see if we can't come back with a W or at least score some points to get up there in the realm of being in the top 3. And then that kind of determines what we're going to do. We're either going to fish all of Kentucky Bass Nation or Ohio Bass Nation, one or the other. But again, if you are in the area and you fish Shimano and G-Lum, or not G-Lum, it's all Shimano stuff, there is the Kentucky or the Shimano Owners Tournament coming up here. That is April 22nd. The Kentucky Bass Nation is April 23rd at Cumberland. So if you're planning on fishing both of those, or one, you might as well fish both of them if you have a $100 Shimano rod or reel that you purchased in the last year. You just have to have the receipt from that. So all good. We will see you guys next time. If you guys can, you know the routine. Get out there and lean on them. We'll see you next time on Another Line.